want to ask a little bit more about the role that Terra Dotta is playing in all of this. You talked about the role of helping in administration, but can you expand on that? I know Terra Dotta is a very robust solution. What is the part of Terra Dotta that you really try to make sure that people expand and understand in order to fully get the full benefits out of the software?
So, from a product standpoint, the thing that I always come back to is data. Being where we are right now, and I know where institutions find themselves, especially as this buzzword of enrollment cliff are used, the data becomes way more important than it was even just 5 years ago, and how to tell a story with that. So, in a lot of my conversations, the discussion turns to creating efficiencies on one hand, but also how do we assist you and support you in partnership in telling that story? What does success look like for you? And there's the definition of it, right? And sharing that definition in partnership with an institution is critical so that we can come to the table with the best solutions. And often I find that data is a huge component of that: data accuracy, data visualization, and how do we span offices that participate in global education to aggregate that data to tell a story with. So that's huge. It's been probably the hottest topic of conversation that I've had from a product standpoint.
And where are they lacking data right now? In what areas, if you could kind of tell the story of where the data does help and support them?
I think a lot of the issue is not so much, it might be a lack of data. If they don't have a solution that affords them data, then the data just isn't there, right? Or at least it's not there in a consumable way. But often what I hear is decentralization of data, having to find it in different places because different people own it, right? And so when you talk about global education and the need for data, the centralization of that becomes a lot more important. And part of that discussion, interestingly, we fold the IT department into, because if they have a cloud-based solution, if they have a solution with us already, then IT normally they have buy-in, and there's obvious benefit to them to continue the use of Teradata and expand on the use of it for data reasons. You know where it exists and you know where to go to get it. It's one source and it's right here, right? Among the cost savings that are provided by an adoption like that. So I wouldn't say it's a lack of data so much as where do we get it and how? Because I have to go here and I have to go here. And then the more nuanced conversation is, well, how do we use it? What's best practice? And what we'd really like to do is this. So how do we achieve that in the software? And that's a lot of the conversation we're having internally right now, is the facilitation of that access in terms of the use of it and how they want to be using it. So it exists. What we would like to do is make it easier and more consumable for the purposes that they want it for, whether that is externalizing where their OPT students have been working or which country they come from.
Data is a lubrication that really allows all the systems and processes and decision making, and therefore, and time savings, right? In order to make better decisions and allocate time and resources, like we were talking about earlier, right? To the student,
Yeah,
to make the impact
it's so
that we're
true.
trying to do. Yeah.
It's so true. And what's become real evident is that the tech stacks on campus are just insane. Students are having to go into multiple portals, have different apps, different sign-ons for different websites. So it can be really confusing from a student perspective, and it impacts their experience to have lots of different softwares and things that they have to go into. And so consolidating that to some degree and centralizing it helps with exactly what you're talking about.